I'm going to read an excerpt from Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. To reignite creativity, innovation, and learning, leaders must rehumanize education and work. This means understanding how scarcity is affecting the way we lead and work, learning how to engage with vulnerability, and recognizing and combating shame. Make no mistake, honest conversations about vulnerability and shame are disruptive. The reason that we're not having these conversations in our organizations is that they shine light in dark corners. Once there's language, awareness, and understanding, turning back is almost impossible and carries with it severe consequences. We all want to dare greatly. If you give us a glimpse into that possibility, we'll hold on to it as our vision. It can't be taken away.
My name is Max Patton. Unitarian Universalism is a culture of disruption. Our religion was created from disruption, and the tradition has been passed down from generation to generation. Unitarian Universalism began with disrupting the Trinity and universal damnation. Universalism broke the cycle of guilt. It promoted the message that everyone is worthy and deserving of salvation. It told people that they were not inherently bad and encouraged them to be even better. And that was a great thing. If that had been the end of our religion's disruption, I doubt we would stand out much from the hundreds of disruptive Christian denominations. But that wasn't the end. Unitarians and Universalists continued to disrupt. We were on the forefront of social issues. We fought for justice and equality. We didn't disrupt only for ourselves, but for others. Our Unitarian Universalist culture continues to be one of disruption, of finding justice for everyone we can. That's why the youth are able to lead this service the way that they are right now. UUs disrupt the norms and give youth a voice. UU kids are raised in a culture that encourages us to be anything but passive. And on top of that, teenagers have naturally created a culture of disruption. We want to change things, to make the world different, and all the better for it. I always grew up hearing, life isn't fair, so get used to it. And I would always say, life isn't fair, but that just means we have more opportunities to make it fair. Some adults can't see the value in this. They see it as teenagers naively holding on to their childish ideals for too long, or trying to play at being grown-ups while they're still young. But this dichotomy is our most valuable asset. We disrupt by realizing that the world wasn't what we thought it was when we were children, and trying to make it right. Historically, teenagers have always been disruptive, in both the good and bad sense. The rebellious teenager stereotype exists for a reason. Teenagers rebel against authority, which means teenagers also rebel against the unjustly powerful. Teenagers rebel against the status quo. Teenagers rebel against the powers that be. Teenagers rebel against injustice. And all that rebelling, all that disrupting can get tiring, as many Unitarian Universalists well know. But someone has to do it. The world will always need people to disrupt injustice, and we can all be those people. Thank you.
My name is Drew Skinner. Disruptiveness is not good or evil exclusively, just like most things. We are not able to live without disruptions. They can be minuscule little things, such as taking a detour or buying a different flavor of gum. They can also be bigger things, such as missing a flight or being upgraded to first class. So far, the examples I have given have been personal disruptions, but some can affect any number of people, sometimes even globally. One of the largest disruptions is war. It will affect millions and billions of people, but war itself is disrupted by even a greater disruptor, technology. One of the biggest things that changed war was the introduction of new weapons, such as firearms. The entire world quickly switched from spears, swords, and shields to almost all using guns. This was a crazy shift and affected the world in a major way. But it hasn't stopped there. Not too long ago, the idea of being able to drop bombs while sitting in a chair half a world away was crazy, but now it is reality. You used to have to keep your hands on the wheel of your car when driving down the highway, but now if you just have a certain brand of car, you don't have to. Personally, I think technology is a necessary disruption and progresses the world as we know it for the better. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I am Leo Hamilton, and I have some words for you. Global warming, climate change, and air pollution are things that affect everyone nowadays, but they affect some people more than others. Climate change is an environmental disruption that affects every living thing on Earth. As humans who created this disruption, we as a species have the obligation to disrupt this problem. An example of this environmental inequality is Nepal. Nepal is a carbon-negative country, which means it absorbs more carbon than it produces. This is a great achievement, and in a perfect world, most countries would follow, but as you can tell, we don't live in a perfect world. Recently in Nepal, waters have risen because of large amounts of flooding. Dozens have been killed because of these rising waters caused by climate change. This country has done the most they can do to stop it, but still, they get the worst effects. This is because all around the world, usually people aren't seeing this happening right in front of their eyes, so they don't feel a duty to make a disruption. Usually we don't really think about the far-reaching effects that we cause when we throw away recycled plastic or leave our lights on in our houses when we're gone. We, well, the adults here, usually think about having to pay a higher energy bill or having to pay the extra recycling pickup. In 2014, Indiana and the surrounding states had some of the worst air quality in the United States. When we are shown statistics like this, it greatly increases the chances that we'll give a crap. But sometimes the case is that we have this fear of not knowing what more we can do. But this is a community that allows for openness on our fears, and I bet so many people here could help you make a bigger change. Like the buddy bench. Making that buddy bench out of unrecyclable bottle caps, we are keeping a large amount of plastic from flooding our oceans. This community has pulled together to make change, and it only helps us more if we think about our effects. Thank you.
Hello, my name is still Evan Cannon. One of the most memorable moments of vulnerability I have ever experienced took place at 7 p.m. in a coffee shop. I was working, drawing out a commission handed to me that morning. A woman was sitting across the seating from me, and a man next to me. The woman checked her phone and walked away periodically before returning to her seat. I didn't think much of it, and I kept working. Caught up in my music from my headphones and the click of my pen. When I looked up again, the woman was crying. Before I had any time to process this, I heard a voice from next to me. "Are you okay?" I looked over to the man, and he was looking at her thoughtfully. She replied, no, she was not okay. Her sister is dying. He immediately shut his laptop and books, grabbed his chair, and moved it over next to her. He sat there and talked to her. I admit to eavesdropping on this wondrous moment a foot away from me. She told him all about how her sister was a smoker, and she would be her 5th sister to die of cancer. She told him how afraid she was. She cried, and she shared her deepest worries. He talked to her, and he didn't just tell her that everything would turn out okay, and that her sister would absolutely get better, but he held her hand and told her his stories. I was shocked for a couple of reasons. I've seen people dealing with lots of strong emotion publicly, and as a youth chaplain, it's my job to support people through these moments. but rarely do I see a stranger or even acquaintance drop everything to come to their aid. We want to help people. We feel compassion and empathy for that person, but we don't feel like it's our place to help them. I see people comfort from a distance, a sympathetic look or a pat on the shoulder. I may feel comfortable handling such a situation because I have an unusual advantage of being a chaplain, but if I had not had this foundation, I can't say I would have gone to talk to her. So this man, this stranger, made a bold choice to go against the norm, to forego having sympathy from a distance and to join this woman in vulnerability. This was a disruption. I can say with full confidence that this disrupted my thought process and my view of such situations. She calmed after talking with him for a while, and they started telling anecdotes about childhood, then life, then even God. Abruptly, the woman looked up at me, tried to act like I had not been listening, and asked me for the time. I told her it was 7:30, and she smiled and reached out her hand to shake. She told me her name was Gloria and the man was Charles. Without a second thought, they had invited me into their conversation. They asked what I was working on, what I'd been studying. I listened to her tell these amazing stories about her life, and Charles tells me all about his medical career. They asked a lot of questions. Normally, I don't share with random people my thoughts on things like God, life, and family, but these people made it seem not easy, but worthwhile. There wasn't a pressure to share because they had, just an open space to do so. I later learned that Gloria lived in Prague. She was visiting her grandchildren, one of which was in the same theater class as my youngest brother. When I asked what she looked like, Gloria told me, "Oh, she's the prettiest one, you'll know her." Charles worked in a business I had often heard of, and even went to from time to time. These small facts I learned last. We usually hear the small talk first. I work in healthcare, I'm visiting from Florida, I'm doing fine. But when we dive past that "I'm fine," we learn so much more about people. How much do we have in common with the strangers around us? What do they know that we have yet to learn? When was the last time you changed? The weather is nice today into what's your favorite kind of weather? Why? What did you feel grateful for this week? What are you looking forward to? What was the last big change you made? I haven't seen Charles or Gloria since that day, but the memory still sticks with me. Being emotionally vulnerable with someone is truly one of the most intimate things you could do with another breathing creature. And if we don't escape the mold we have begun to fit so comfortably into, we will lose all sense of that feeling. Vulnerability is how we connect with people, and vulnerability is a strength. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Betty Ann Skinner. As we all know, disruption is commonly thought of as an external activity, such as disrupting an action or process. It must be dramatic and loud. But I'd like to focus a bit on a different type of disruption. Disrupting thoughts and habits can be very important, whether that's disrupting a bad habit such as biting your nails, or it could be a negative thought about something or someone, even yourself. Whether we like it or not, we all have negative thoughts, no matter how positive or perky you are. And of course, they're natural and are supposed to be there. It's okay to be upset over things such as losing a game or maybe a loved one passing away. But those aren't the thoughts that I'm referring to. I'm thinking of the thoughts similar to, "Wow, I look so bad today. Ugh, her pants are ugly. I did terrible on that test. I'm so stupid." Or "Gross, I look so fat in this shirt." Those are the unnecessary negative thoughts. I won't say that I have a cure for all negative thoughts, but I will say that I know how to decrease them. Disruption. It's essential to catch these small thoughts early and realize that they don't need to be there. Then to disrupt them further, follow it up or even replace it with a positive thought. "I don't look great today. I should get more sleep tonight." "I don't like her pants, but I admire her confidence to wear something so bold in public." "I did poorly on that test. I'm going to study hard and ace the next one." I look a little chubbier than usual in this shirt. Thank goodness I'm so well nourished and my organs are healthy. Once I started practicing replacing negative thoughts with positive ones, I became an overall more positive person. I even noticed the negative thoughts decreasing and the positive ones flowing in naturally. Another suggestion that I have is that each time you have a negative thought about somebody, you should give them a compliment. This will cause you to start looking for the good in somebody instead of the bad, therefore disrupting the habit of negative thoughts forming in your mind. I remember one time that I wasn't feeling very good about myself. The thoughts in my head were quite negative. Then I had a realization. I have to be with myself my entire life. The only person that you are always stuck with is yourself. This thought led me to the conclusion that if you have to spend forever with someone, you might as well enjoy it. The only thing guaranteed in life is you. So you should start being more nice to yourself and learn to love yourself. It will make the rest of your life more pleasant. This realization disrupted my inner hatred aimed towards myself. After that, I began practicing more kindness and love towards myself. In the society that benefits from you hating yourself, the most disruptive thing you can do is loving yourself. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Melanie. In 2018, there was a shooting at a high school in Parkland, Florida, where 17 people lost their lives. Even though it was only February, there were already 9 other school shootings within the year. These are recognized as tragedies, but when there are that many in such a short amount of time, some people become numb to them. Students and faculty who survive these tragedies are expected to take time to grieve, but then return to school business as usual. But not Emma Gonzalez. Emma is a former student who survived the shooting at Parkland and is now an activist who advocates for better gun control. She is able to take her negative emotions and use them to fuel her passion to fight back, to fight for a change. In order for there to be change, we need someone to stand up, someone to push back against the status quo. In order for things to change, to get better, we need to have someone to have the courage to be that disruption, to be the call to action that says, this is a problem and we need to fix it. A disruption in society is needed to be the spark for change. So I encourage you to be an Emma Gonzalez and dare to be the spark we need. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Aiden Hamilton, and I have an English essay due next week. After this, I'm going to finish my math homework. There's another shooting a few days ago. Our government doesn't care about climate change. I got a job last Saturday. I still need to get trained for it. I'm planning a con in February. We still need kitchen volunteers, by the way. We are on the brink of another Middle Eastern war for no good reason. I don't mean to speak for every 16-year-old out there, but like many, I just want to be a kid. I want to go to the movies with my friends, walk in the park with someone special. I want to just go easy on life and enjoy it. But here I am taking as many AP classes as I can handle and joining whatever club or organization that claims to be making a difference. Sometimes teachers, parents, and just adults in general ask me why I put so much on my plate. It's not that I necessarily want to. I'd like to just goof off, as I said, but I have to. I want to go to a good college. I want to have a world to live in the next 50 years. I want to have good grades, but I worry that I may not come back home from school with my brother every day. I'm torn between acting now for others and myself and investing in my own future. And this is the case for many of us here today. But what gets me going, what keeps me up every day, is that I'm a Unitarian Universalist. I believe it is a strength. I am not sure if there's a God. I'm not sure if I'll go to somewhere nice after all this for all my hard work. I'm not sure if bad people will get what they deserve. But I do know that we have each other. I know that everyone here has values and cares about me and themselves and everyone here. I know that I have a community to look to. I know that I have my parents and my brother. We may not have a God. Maybe we do. I'm not sure. I've been a little unclear on that. But we have people. And if you ever feel that it's too much, that you just can't do it all, just remember that there's a world of people that are fighting just as hard as you, that have communities just like you, and need people just like we do. So thank you.